What's up, folks? First off, I know I'm in the same clothes as the last video, but I'm not recording this the next day. It's the same day, a few hours later. I just wanted to go ahead and do this and get it posted and prepared to air tomorrow, which tomorrow will be today by the time you see this. You know what I mean, because I'm going to be driving tomorrow. So, I had an interaction. I know in the last video I said I'm not going to do this anymore, and I'm just using this as an example, and I'm going to leave this one up. I'm not even going to delete this, because this is the one, it gave me this idea for this video, and it's something, it's a topic I've known for a while. I think I'll just go ahead and talk about it, because I got an hour until WWE SmackDown airs. So, but it was the video that I did about how some people thrive on conflict. You're always looking for a fight. You're always looking to start a problem so that they can either get attention or get validation somehow. But really, all they're doing is just letting the rot inside them get out to everybody else. And I'll get to a bigger point on that in a second, but I want to go over this interaction. It's on the video and the comments. So, again, the video that I talk about how people just thrive on conflict. Somebody commented and said, women like emotional tension. Women are all about feelings. They like a man who is not easy. They need something to work with. And they need this emotional push and pull. As a man, you should never talk too much or reveal your feelings to a woman. They need to wonder about your feelings. You also need to do your manly stuff and not do as they wish you to do. They really want to be a support for you and your important purpose. I don't need to read that whole comment. I don't agree with all of this, but most of it, yes. So under this, I say, that's it. I'm having a tough time dating, but it's not so bad that I would give up. And that was pretty much it. Now, here's where the craziness began, because I'm assuming the lady that commented here is probably a little bit of an older woman. I don't know, maybe. I don't know. I know it's a woman. Here it goes. So remember, the commenter said women like emotional tension, blah, blah, blah. And I don't think all women like that, but I'm talking to the people that like conflict like that shit. So, here's a woman. I guess she was talking to that guy, not me. Is it really what we need or want? Have y'all ever listened to a woman? I don't mean hear women. I mean really listen with intent to learn something, because I honestly can't see any evidence that y'all have at all. Remember what she said. Have you listened to a woman, not heard her, listen with the intent to learn something? Keep that in mind as I go through the rest of this. Now, I replied, a lot of women believe they're telling men what they need or want when really they're being vague and rambling. Be direct. That's what men tend to understand. If you're talking with no intent to solve a problem or genuinely be understood, most men will stop listening. Yeah. That's just a fact. That's how our brains work. A lot of women also refuse to listen to very direct things men tell them. Too many assumptions of hidden intent and double meanings. A lot of y'all are going to say, yep, exactly, right? Now, her reply. Coming from the experience of being a woman who's been married to a narcissist for several years, I can say you're right. We can be vague and ramble. So I ask, why not? I don't even know what sense that made. So I ask, why not listen with intent anyway? You're also right that men just shut down and stop listening if they're not saying anything of importance to you. So, damn, dry throat. So, I ask, how is that our fault? I never said anybody was at fault. And I ask, why isn't what she's saying important to you? I never said what a woman's saying isn't important either. I never said any of that. I said be direct. If you're about being direct or just rambling, typically men are just going to zone out. They're not even going to listen anymore, because I'll explain it. Now, I said if you're speaking to a narcissist, they won't listen anyway. A normal, decent man will listen, but they're not going to keep being an emotional rant sponge. Big one. We want to fix the issue when it arises. So again, try and be direct with what you want. It's not hard. Any decent man will listen, understand, and fix the problem. If you're rambling and being vague, it doesn't matter how much listening we do, nothing will get done. And at that point, why are you even talking if you don't want results? If you want someone to just listen to you ramble, go to therapy, because that's what they're paid to do. That's just me saying, hey, you asked me a question, I answered it the way I would as a man, because I am a man, right? Her response, off the rails. This is why you're single and bitching about it. What? So your point was, why don't men listen with the intent to hear something or to understand? And she asked me these questions, and then when I told her, she did not listen with the intent to understand. Contradictory, right? So basically, I just let her have it at that point. There's no reason to insult me because I answered your question. I don't know what you wanted from me when you asked those questions. They were stupid questions. They weren't even stupid questions. They were just questions that I answered in a civil, decent way. I wasn't trying to argue. And of course, this person insults me and tells me that I'm single because I guess answer questions directly with thought to them. That makes zero sense, woman. Now, again, I don't know who that person is. That she's whoever she is. Well, I don't really need to address that anymore. But I said I'll delete comments like that, and I'm not going to delete that one. Anyway, do I want to walk with the camera? I'll just finish the video here in the truck. So, something in my mouth. I just ate a burrito. Sorry. I make a video talking about how people thrive on conflict. And then the very person I'm talking about gets in the comments and tells me I'm wrong and proves my point even more so. Now, that's where I'm going to stop that little bit of a rant and exposure of whoever this person is, because this gave me the idea for the video. And it is how modern dating is completely broken. And it's not just because of people like that. It's everybody. Everybody is to blame. Even the people that are doing all the right things, but we're getting on dating apps. That's a part of a problem. But let's back it up. I don't want this to be too long, but let's back this up. Now, I'm going to start it off. Remember, everything I say here can probably be flip-flopped to men or women, because everybody does something wrong all the time. So we're all playing a part in this big problem. Let's say a woman is young and naive. Again, don't at me just because I'm saying woman. It could be a man too, because this goes both ways. Now, let's say a woman is young and naive. She might be, 20, 21 years old, college, okay? She goes to a party, and, let's say, you know what SA is? Let's say that happens at this party. Right off the bat, she's going to hate men. She's going to hate men. Should she blame all men? No. But we're all human. We have emotions. And she's going to hate men. I have a friend who at one point was jumped by a bunch of black guys. I don't know why. I never really delved into this, but he was jumped by a bunch of black guys. And for a long time, he wasn't racist, but he didn't like black people because he'd been jumped by black people. He's not like that now. But this is how he was when I first met him. So I'm saying, when something bad happens to you, you associate that bad thing with whoever did it to you. So, bad men did something bad to this proverbial woman, and now she doesn't like men. She's going to carry that into every single relationship she ever has after that. And it doesn't even have to have been something like that. It could have been she was a kid to a single mother who had abusive stepfathers, and she saw that man abusing her mother over and over. A bad man, right? Again, most men are good, but you'll have the 5% of horrible men instill this on all women, and it works this way. So this girl now thinks all men are bad. She takes that trauma into all of her relationships, doesn't work through it. She never went to therapy or never worked through it herself. And she goes in thinking every man's bad. So, if she thinks every man's bad, she thinks every guy she dates is bad. And she's going to start manifesting bad things. She'll think of bad things in her head and will convince herself that it's right. And eventually, the guy she's with might do something wrong. Boom, you're a horrible person. You did me wrong, and blah, blah, blah. traumatized people will traumatize more people. Hurt people hurt people. I know it sounds weird. Hurt people hurt people. So, she's traumatizing all these men too by telling them that they're horrible, that they're the problem. Maybe some of them were assholes, but maybe some of them had done nothing wrong. Nothing. So now, these men, these young men that are still young, start to associate every woman with that woman who did them wrong. Now, remember, these are two innocent people that now have corrupted each other. So now these men, they jump online, and this is the big one. Social media and the participation of everybody in this bullshit is the problem. These traumatized and hurt, abused, and problematic women, maybe they were just a narcissist in the first place and they were the problem all the time. Either way, they jump online, like this lady, and start spewing vitriol and hatred to everyone online. And those men, and some of y'all in the comments, those men that got hurt by women in the past or saw these women online that were just hating you just for being a man you decided not to date, now you're an incel. And I understand that. I understand noping out of it altogether. I understand giving up. I wouldn't do that because I think that's also contributing to the problem. But I understand it. But these men that have been hurt and abused by women, that have not healed themselves and gotten past it, men that have healed themselves and gotten past that aren't going to be inflammatory online. They're not going to be on here saying, all women are terrible, women will do this, women are bad, women blah, blah, blah. Women will also all the women will just ruin your life. I feel like some people might have gotten the idea that that's what I was going to say on this channel, and I never said that. I usually say a lot of women, or some women, most men, or like I don't like generalizations. If I ever do it, I'm not really meaning a generalization. It's just coming out that way. So, but yeah, these types of people are the minority. They're not most people. But since they're online and spewing hatred, spewing vitriol, here's my experience here, here's how this man ruined my life, here's how this woman ruined my life, now the rest of the world sees it. So now the rest of the world starts consuming this bullshit brain rot content, and it starts to just fester. It's a rotting apple. And it starts to just rot everything around it. It's not just spoil a whole bunch, it's spoiled the whole fucking orchard. Everything is getting corrupted by terrible, hurt, traumatized people who have done nothing to help themselves get over their past. And they're getting online and they're spreading their bullshit to everybody else, like that woman there. That's somebody that needs to go to fucking therapy or shut up. If you have nothing positive to say, hey, say nothing at all. I was taught that at a very young age. You know, there's no reason to slander people online. Of course, I've talked about women that I dated that were problematic, but I didn't slander them. I never pointed fingers and said, this person did this. You would never know who I'm talking about. I said it's a very vague thing because a lot of men relate to what I'm saying. So you know what I mean there. So that's not gossip. That's just me saying, hey, I went through this. But don't think that all women are like this. You know, that's pretty much what I mean. I'm staying on that too much. But yeah, everybody's playing into this. Even the people that aren't being a problem play into this in some way because they'll see this stuff online and then they'll start to get it in their head that, you know, a lot of people are like this. And if you're the type of person to see that and not play into it, good. You know, good. Keep it that way. Because if you know you're not a problem, then you're not a problem. Some people think they're not a problem. They really are. But where am I going with this? I need to take a drink of water. Oh my God. I'm in the desert now. It's like super dry. So I feel like everybody is just in some way, in some point in the past, everybody's made a mistake. Everybody has done somebody wrong. I feel like everybody in the past has done somebody wrong. Like I said, in my marriage, I'll make a video about it. I did a lot of things wrong. I was an asshole a lot of times. I'm not like that anymore. I bettered myself after that. Should I have probably bettered myself during it? Yes. But I wasn't in a headspace to do that. So I feel like a lot of people need to change that mindset. You know, change who you are. If all your relationships are falling apart, then now I'm saying, I know some people, all your relationships fell apart. They did not all fall apart. Two marriage fell apart, and the BPD girl, that wasn't a falling apart thing. That was me realizing, okay, I need to get out of this. Done. And that's how it's been. If I see a problem, I don't tolerate it. I just get out of it. I don't want to be a part of all that stuff. So that's what I mean. So if you're like me, good, fine. But if you're getting all these toxic relationships and you're saying it all falls apart, all your exes are narcissists and blah, 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 all men are bad, you got to look at yourself at some point, because you are either choosing these bad people or you're the problem, or it's both. It can be both. So I look at it like this way. I'm a Boy Scout. I camp, you know. Look at it like fire. When you go camping, you only start a fire to be productive. You either want to warm yourself up, deter predators, or cook some food. That's what the fire's for. You start the fire for that. Once that job is done, you put the fire out. You control it, you put it out. When you're walking through the woods or hiking, if you see a fire that shouldn't exist, you know, or somebody forgot to put that fire out, you try to put that fire out. You put it out. If that fire is, if it's become a fire that you can't put out, if it's a wildfire, get the fuck out of there. Run. Because that fire will consume you and it will kill you. And it's going to burn the whole forest down. So, I say that like, start a fire only when you know it's a controlled environment and that you can control it and that you can be productive. Don't start some shit with people if you don't have a reason to do it. Don't start the fire with somebody if you're not trying to be productive. And don't start that fire unless you know you can also put it out when you need to. When you run into somebody that is a fire, you can try to put that fire out because somebody else started that fire. You can try to put it out. It's probably not going to be worth it, but you can try to put that fire out. Put your own fire out is what you should do. That's why I started with that one. But then again, you'll run into some people who are a wildfire. You can't put them out. You need to recognize that it's a wildfire. And honestly, wildfires are easy to recognize. You look and say, everything's on fire here. I'm getting out of here. Run. Don't bother with the wildfires. That lady's a wildfire. The girl that thrived on conflict that I talked about in that video, that was a wildfire. The girl with BPD, that was a wildfire. Now, in my marriage, I started a lot of fires that I didn't really give a shit to put out. That's me. That's on me. That's me. That's a me problem that I needed to work on. Some of those fires are probably still burning because I'll get into that when I talk about the marriage. But I'll leave it at that. Just don't start fires that don't need to be started. Be a good person. You know, everybody's playing into this shit, and online dating is making it worse because the worst of the worst people are on these apps. Like I said, the only people I meet are wishy-washy, don't know what they want, or they're traumatized and haven't worked through it, or they're freaking psychopaths. And those literally are the leftover people for the most part. That's what's concentrated in dating apps and online dating and social media in general. It's the worst of the worst people. And they're all mingling and making each other hate each other even more. And now their nonsense is spreading to the world because they're putting in these preconceived notions in everybody's head that all of these people are bad, that everybody's bad. All men are bad. All women are bad. Everybody's the problem. Don't be part of the problem. You know, don't be part of the problem. If you need me to make a video on that, I will do it. It's easy to not be a part of the problem. It's so easy. Don't be that lady. Don't be those other guys in my comments every once in a while. There's less and less of you now. Don't be those guys in the comments that are looking to just bash women. Don't be that woman that jumps in my comments trying to bash men. Especially me. I'll come at you. I'll tell you you're wrong. maybe I'm putting some gas on some of the fires, but no, I'm not really doing that. It's just I recount my experience to try and give some relatable experience, to men that say, okay, that's happened to me. At least I'm not alone. That's helpful. It's helpful to men. And maybe give some advice on how I work through a lot of that crap. And give some advice on how to avoid some of that crap. That's it. Don't start the fire. It's that stupid song. We didn't start the fire. Y'all have a good one.